Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 229 of Kouryer podcast. Our today's guest is Mr. Rob Brunette. He's the lead concept artist at Blackbird Interactive's studio and illustrator at Marvel Studios from Vancouver, Canada. And of course, before we get into the signature questions of the podcast, let me quickly mention that in the for contact section of the captions, you can find the ID to his Instagram profile, the links to his website and art station as well, if you want to see more in-depth, works as well. And well, with that being said, how are we doing today?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm doing fine. I'm actually doing better. For anyone who's just watching the previous episodes of podcast, it's kind of like a running joke at this point, like because my voice is just getting progressively different every single episode. So yeah, I think everyone else can agree that I'm doing a bit better, like compared.
It sounds nice. It sounds nice podcast voice right now.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and yeah, so let's jump into the first signature question of the podcast, which I basically open up the podcast with, which is give us a little introduction on how you got into the world of visual arts and design. Basically, tell us your origin story if you know how you became an artist, basically.
From how early on? Like, do we want to go like
as early as possible? Like any info and details and juice you can,
Yeah. Okay. Well. From a young kid, I was always drawing. I have an older brother, and he was always like super good at drawing. So then, basically, my main motivation was to like try to be better than him. And then, we kind of reached this point where it's like he just sort of fell off with drawing, and then I just kept going with it. But growing up, we were always like really into movies as a family, and like we'd watch like especially the Lord of the Rings movies, and then watching like the making of. For that sort of thing. So then, like the Lord of the Rings had this like box set where there was like a bunch of extra DVDs, and then it kind of would like, it had all these behind the scenes, like how they developed the characters and costumes and all that kind of stuff. And seeing that, I guess was like the first sort of light bulb. Like, I don't know exactly what that job is called, but like, that's what I want to do one day. And then it's kind of been like in the back of my mind ever since. And then, I went to school and I studied, like I did like an arts and science degree. Like I wasn't fully committed to the art thing because like, I guess I was a bit nervous or didn't want to like fully admit to myself that was like something that was like possible. But still like had this like nagging thing in the back of my mind that like Lord of the Rings concept art kind of do, but I didn't even know what like concept art was as a word. And then eventually by the end of that degree was like, okay, I need to do this. I need to try to see this through. Went to Sheridan College, did their illustration program, and then started in animation after graduating. Worked on a few animation shows, and then eventually was like, as cool as like animation was, I was like background painting, character designing, and then like you do concept there, but I was just sort of like, it was a lot of kids TV stuff. And as like cool as kids TV things were, I was like, I need to work on some like more violent, gruesome monsters and stuff. So eventually like sort of pivoted into video games. And then I was doing like video games for a while, Marvel for a bit, and now back to video games. So that's like, I guess a quick like, I don't know, a long version of the story. If you want me to go into any more like detail, but that's how I got here.
All right, awesome. And here's the thing. In the introduction, I mentioned that you're like a lead concept artist and also an illustrator, but like let's talk about a little bit more in depth. Like, because both concept art and illustration, they're both really they have their own individual extensive fields. So what I want to ask is like, what is your main branch of design in each of them, and like what are you focusing on? Because I've seen a little bit of environments in your portfolio, I've seen a little bit of characters. And so just what are your main strongest suits basically in those areas? Like what would you consider yourself as a specialist mostly?
Oh, for sure. Honestly, like I would say like characters like has always been my thing, but then when you work as a concept artist, like you need to sort of be able to do all the things. Like I'll do environments as well, like a lot of keyframes. One thing I love to do is like storyboards. Not that I was like a trained animator by any means, but like I did like quite a lot of work in animation. So like I just like sequential like little animatics or like short little things. So I do quite a lot of that where it's like affects like how a character's attack will look kind of thing. And then just doing like a few like sketches or like frames of how like an explosion will happen or how like their attack blast will go off. So yeah, I guess like maybe like it gets a bit general day to day in concept art, but like primarily focused in like character. And then illustration, I guess like with the Marvel stuff, like it was all characters, and that's what they contacted me for. But then I've done like a lot of covers for like comic books and that sort of thing. So it's sort of like a key frame, almost like a bit of environment, mostly focused on the character, that sort of deal. Yeah. But yeah, you mentioned like that illustration and concept art, they're like slightly different fields. And I don't know if I consider myself as like more one than the other. You know, like I definitely like, I guess it's like, I was worried, like, and it's not like it's ever like a clean divide. Like when I'm doing concept artwork at a studio, I can still take on like illustration work every now and then, or do that kind of thing. And it's sort of like a blurry division anyways. But yeah, I guess like, cause yeah, when you're doing like illustration, you're still doing a bit of like concepting and that kind of stuff within the piece. Or sometimes a concept art like keyframe can just look a lot like an illustration. I don't know if I have a good answer for like what the difference is, but yeah, I guess it's what it's being used for in the production or that kind of deal. But yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes this stuff get confusing. Like the other day, I interviewed someone who's like, I guess position name was shot grid coordinator, and I was like, "What is that?" And it's like, "Oh, shotgun coordinator," and it's just like shot grid is basically like Autodesk but shotgun, and like
yeah,
and it's just a weird position name. And maybe it's kind of related to the subject, but what I'm trying to say is that kind of, as you say, it's kind of blurs the lines between like some of these roles in the industry, like illustration, concept art, or right, concept art, and stuff like that.
No, and for sure. Like I think. I don't know. Like, I think most people in the artists, like even like nowadays too, like so many concept artists are also like, they have a lot of 3D experience too. And then sometimes I wonder like, yeah, when I get so like in the weeds with all the like character workflow or whatever, it's like how, obviously I'm not going to call myself like a character artist or whatever, but then I'm like, where's the line here? Like how far do I go with like doing like proper UVs and texturing and all this kind of stuff on like a 3D model. And then I'm like, I'm basically doing like amateur character art just work. And I don't know. Yeah. It makes it easier for applying for jobs or whatever if you like clearly define your title. But like, I think being a commercial artist or whatever, like you kind of wear a lot of hats, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, just speaking of like, wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just missed for a second.
Oh, dude, that was a great mute. Like you were so on the ball.
Yeah, because I kind of gotten good at it the past couple of days. And the thing is, like right now on my taskbar, there's like, Substance Painter, there's like Unreal, there's like Moto, there's like, 3 SP3, ZBrush, Maya, Unreal, Blender, like Designer, Marvelous Designer, and just a lot. You have to wear a lot of hats. Like, for example, as a 3D environment artist, and I'm sure like right now in like 3D character artists and like even as you said concept artists, you need to even get good at 3D at this point, which is not a bad thing, but the lines are getting blurry. That's what I'm saying, because like the whole point of concept art, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, is to get the vision of the whole story out to the next person in the pipeline to get it ready as a 3D model, or I don't know, like a 2D sprite or something, to get it to the next person to animate it or something like that. And sometimes concept artists, some of them are really good at illustration and rendering that sometimes people are like, is it like a concept art sketch or something, or is it supposed to be illustration? And
totally. Sometimes it's like, it's really just in how you present the image too. Like, it's like, I don't know, like if the character, to me, if the character is standing in like, this is going to sound kind of silly, but like if the character's standing in a more generic pose where you can see like most of the suit kind of thing, then it's more of a concept art piece. But then like, or for like the illustrations that I did with like Marvel, it's like, the character's pose can be a bit more dynamic and whatever. You don't need to see like the entire suit and stuff, and then that can be used as an illustration. But also, it's like, yeah, like that. I wasn't like creating the character design, like costume design or whatever, but like, yeah, I don't know. Just sometimes it's like it just comes down to the presentation, like how that image is. Anyways,
Yeah, exactly. No worries. And all right, so speaking of that, yep.
I'm so impressed with your mute skills.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So the next thing I want to ask is, how does your design process usually go anytime you want to start working on a new project or a piece? Like basically, what does the structure of a pipeline look like? Could you explain to us?
Yeah, for sure. I guess like it always starts with like a weird idea, which normally comes to me. I like sometimes lately it's been like I'm just dozing off to sleep, and and you're like half asleep, half awake kind of thing. I have like these weird dreams or like an image, and then I'll wake up and be like, oh damn, that was cool. I'll make a note for myself so I don't forget it, and leave it in my on my phone, and then just start like sketching out things the next day, just kind of like scribbling down some ideas of like what it could look like. I guess eventually then like moving into like some silhouettes, and then trying to have like a range of things, really like expand the idea, like explore it out. And then what I was doing like for a while was like I would leave it up to the Instagram followers to like be like, make the decision for me, because like, well, it was a cool way to like interact with like I guess like fans of my work, but also like just sort of help me out in my indecisiveness and like being like, what do you guys think is cool? Because like what I think is cool a lot of the time, I don't know, maybe the rest of the people will be like, oh, that's not the best idea or whatever. I don't know. So anyways, I would like post out like some A, B, C, D options, and then like take a combination of what the people like, what I liked, and then work on like a more finalized version and just sort of go through it. I guess that's like in terms of like getting at an idea, but then technically it starts 2D sketching a lot of the time, like on Procreate, like just on my iPad on my lunch break or something like that. I'll just be like sketching out ideas. Then I'll do some maybe more finished drawings in Photoshop, like some sketches. And then once I'm like committed on an idea, I'll like work in 3D, either Blender if it's like an environment, or if it's a character, start in ZBrush, and then like do the lighting and texturing and that in a bit of like Substance and Blender. And then whatever is gonna take me too long to do in 3D, I'll just kind of be like, okay, this is like a good place to like park it, and I'll just paint in all those extra details in Photoshop kind of thing. And that's kind of how like the workflow for like, I guess like a character or whatever for me, like beginning to end. Yeah.
All right. And speaking of like something you said, while you're in a half wake state, you sometimes see stuff. Like, actually, it's a really good segue to my next question, which was, have you ever used anything from your dreams as inspirations for your works? Because I don't know, like some people, like it's kind of like a spectrum thing. Like, have you ever heard about this thing called aphantasia?
I don't think so. What is that?
It's like a condition where people. It was kind of weird for me when I read it as well. It's like a condition where some people can't think visually, can't visualize things in their head.
Really?
And there are artists who are like this as well. That's why they are extremely like, the more you're like that, the more you're dependent on reference for every single detail.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah,
but some people like can, like I myself, I'm like this, and most of my friends are kind of like me as well. So I thought this was normal. Maybe I'm just sounding kind of silly here, but I actually read about this, and I saw in the comments and Reddit and YouTube, everything, like it's actually a real thing. Some people can't visualize things.
So you can't like visualize the thing?
No, I can. I'm actually the complete opposite. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually the opposite of that.
No, I was like, wow, man, you're really good like at creating things. Oh jeez. Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
And no worse. And the thing is, it kind of relates to dreaming as well, because some people just don't dream at all, which is like really weird to me.
Yeah.
Like it's actually legit weird to me that some people just see blankness and just wake up. Like, what?
Good. Close. Yeah. Okay.
But some people see the weirdest, most abstract dreams, like me, for example.
Yeah.
And like, have you ever used anything from your dreams as inspiration, basically? And also,
For
how
sure.
are your dreams? Where do you fall in this spectrum of, like,
How
like
like
dreams you have?
fantastical or whatever are the
Yeah.
dreams and that kind of thing. Yeah, they can get pretty weird for sure. And like, yeah, I don't know. It's not like they're always gold. It depends. A lot of the time, it's just like my whatever anxieties or things just like manifesting themselves. But sometimes my partner, like, she has like awesome dreams, and I'll steal ideas from her dreams sometimes. But like, I haven't actually like, I don't know if there's anything that I've like used in like a concept piece or whichever that's like on my portfolio. Maybe I can't remember. There was like that hand creature that's just like totally made up of hands and stuff. I can't remember if that was like a dream or not. Yeah, I don't know. But like, there's things that I have like written down. Like, I have like a list of stuff that I'm like, I don't know what project I'm going to use this for, but like, I like the idea, and I think that's like a cool thing to like build on. And that, yeah, usually sort of starts in that state. There was this like Star Wars thing that I've been like Star Wars idea that I've been like meaning to do for a while now. That's sort of like, I started, it's on the back burner, but it was like, yeah, like this sort of like droid like thing, and the way it walked came to me in a dream kind of deal. But yeah, I don't know. It's so there's like, but yeah, I don't think there's much like on my portfolio from there, but totally a source of inspiration, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And you know what I just was just thinking right now? It's like kind of like frustrating as well that how short our lives are.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is like, because I was thinking, if I could, live like 100, 200 years more, I would definitely like think of my life much more different. Like, I was like I would actually be like, all right, I'm going to get good at art, and I'm going to study and go into medical school because I want to become a neurosurgeon, because then after that, I want to connect this both and try to find a way to actually make a device that would visualize people's brain patterns
Oh
on a
man.
screen. That would be so sick, right?
Yeah.
But no,
If you got like all that, you play the long game and like creating artwork, and like, yeah, you become a neurosurgeon first to like that
Oh, yeah,
research, and then, yeah, like
definitely, yeah.
figure out, yeah, hell yeah, I
Yeah,
can
but
see that.
take a look at it. I don't know. I don't want to get too much deep into this like topic, but I think it could be in the realms of possibility, like being able to somehow translate the brain patterns and just neurons firing into some sort of
Things
like,
like
ones and
Sean's
zeros,
group.
and those ones and zeros could be translated into visual, like, representation, I guess.
Heck yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that'd be sweet,
Yeah.
and totally, because like it's well, I wonder though, do you find like as you're like working on a piece, like it's like you have that image, it's so clear in your mind, but then for whatever reason, or it's like when you wake up and you're trying to like recall your dream, and you're like, I can like see it, I can taste it, but I can't explain it. It's kind of like that with like art a lot of the time for me, where it's just like, this isn't exactly what I envisioned. It became its own thing, but like maybe there's some beauty in that. But yeah, like I wonder, would the art be better or cooler if it was like, it could be directly like, yeah, from your, I don't know. Here we go on some pretty
Yeah,
weird
exactly.
topics here, but
Yeah.
dude, I'm with you. I'm following you. Yeah, yeah,
Like, the weirdest thing is, sometimes my dreams, like, I have some of my dreams since I was a kid, like, still ingrained in my brain. Like, some
yeah.
of them were actually had cinematic shots. I swear to
Hell
God,
yeah,
like, I'm not
yeah,
kidding.
yeah,
Like, my dreams sometimes get like this. Like, it's a kind of like a weird thing. Like, sometimes, yeah, sure, I have those weird abstract dreams,
for
like,
sure.
but some of my dreams are actually like cinematic, like
Yeah,
experiences that then I wake up, I'm like, whoa.
yeah,
Like, the guy is on top of a mountain fighting, and there's cameras zooming in, doing it like
yeah,
with
yeah,
different
yeah, yeah.
FOVs, and like I actually have written a lot of notes from my dreams as well. That's why dreams are such a fascinating topic, and I always want to talk about it, especially artists.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, like I had a dream the other night, like, and it was literally just like for the first, because a lot of the time, yeah, like you're in the dream. But this one, I was just watching a movie. I haven't seen the movie The Whale yet, and this was like my dream version of like what that movie was, and it was literally just like watching the movie the entire time. And I got up, I was like, that's actually like a pretty cool movie. I kind of hope that the Whale movie is like that, but it was not. Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I know it's not. Like Christian Bale was in my version of the movie and whatever, but I don't know. Yeah, I know what you mean, man. Like, yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
you're just like, damn, that would make a pretty cool movie or like scene or whatever, and like, yeah, write that down. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with you.
exactly.
I'll talk
And
dreams with you all day.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna grab some water. It's like,
No worries.
okay.
All
Sorry,
right.
carry on, carry on.
The next one is, who are some of your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most?
Uh, well, yeah, like totally like nowadays for sure. It's like Jared Morantz is kind of like, if I could, if my art could be, I don't know, like to me, that's just like the gold standard. Like Jared Morantz, Konstantin Sakaris, like Zachary Berger. I don't like, I might be pronouncing these names entirely wrong, but they're all like creature concept artists working on like Avatar, Marvel stuff. Like those guys to me is like, man, I would love to be able to create work like them someday. So yeah, like huge source of inspiration for me. A lot of the Marvel Viz Dev team too, like Ryan Meinerding, Andy Park, like all those people are just like Carlo Ortiz, like that kind of thing. Like that's just like the level of like finish and quality that I try my best to achieve. And I don't know, to me, like they're just like leagues ahead. But yeah, like that's what the kind of work that I look up to, sort of thing. And I feel like saying it, I don't know, at least to me, when I look at my portfolio, I'm like, oh, this is just like a trying my best to be like them kind of deal. And the influences are so obvious, but hopefully not to everyone else. But to me, it's like, yeah, it's like loud and clear. Yeah.
All right. And especially now talking about portfolios, actually, like your answers are really good because like, I don't know, you don't know the order of my questions, but the answers you give me are great segues to my next
They're leading
questions.
into, okay, here we
So
go.
I'm actually really surprised as well. Yeah.
Sweet, man.
My
Nice.
next, actually, the question I was going to ask is like, any advice and tips for a good portfolio and resume for artists who want to break into the industry? And that these are for junior, the tips and advice for juniors, but also tips and advice for people who want to, get into, big studios and stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah. Like, I think one of the pieces of advice that like I've been giving lately, and I feel like holds true, is a lot of it is in how you're like presenting the work. And it took me a long time to like figure that out. But like, to me, it's like, figure out the sort of projects you want to work on and like try to be as like clear as possible in terms of like, yeah, if you want to be like the Marvel Viz Dev team type, like artist and that kind of stuff, like watch the movie, scroll through the credits, like find that section of names. Like I've done this 1,000 times, like screen cap everybody there, research them, look them up. And like, you'll start to see some like, I guess like similarities in how, at least in how they're like presenting the work. Like for me, if it's like character concept art, it's just like, what are the poses that character's going to be in? How crazy do I go with the background? How am I lighting this character? That sort of thing. So, and like, I would say that I don't know, maybe that's like a bit down the line, like obviously like, work on your skills and like, and everything at the same time. But I think it's like, because sometimes or I was doing this for a long time too. Like I would just be doing fan art and a character would be like cropped from the mid like torso up kind of thing. So it'd just be like upper body and like face kind of thing. And that's cool, but it's a bit more of like an illustration, maybe like a comic book cover or whatever. But like I had some like really good feedback where they're just like, you gotta like the whole body needs to be in frame. Like we need to see like the entire character and 3/4 front or something like that. Like where it's like, if you were to then pass this on to like a 3D artist who's going to model that, like you want it to be fairly clear and like, showing enough information there. Right. So those sorts of things, like generally lit from the front in some way. You can get crazy with it, but like lit from the front in some way, maybe some rim light from the back kind of thing, just sort of defining the silhouette. I guess look to those sorts of things. That's pretty character focused, but like if you want it to be an environment artist, same kind of deal. Like just look at like environment concept art from like the type of project you want to work on. What are the camera angles that they're using? How are the scenes lit? That kind of stuff. Like try to pay attention to those and do your best version of that, I guess would be my advice. How does that sound?
That sounds pretty good to me.
Okay, cool.
And all right, speaking of works, see another segue. What are you working on right now that you can tell us about? What kind of project is it? I mean, obviously there's like 99% chance there's NDS involved, but
Yeah,
if that's not the case, like what are you doing right now? Maybe even your personal projects that you can tell
personal
us
stuff.
about.
Yeah. Like for me right now, yeah, nothing at Blackbird has been like announced, so it's all like stuff in development. But then personal stuff is like, yeah, I got that Santa Claus Monster Slayer thing. That's just like always on the go. I feel like I'm working on this like trailer in Unreal. I have a few more shots to kind of like put together, but like all the pieces are kind of there. I just have to like sit down and finish it. And then I'm gonna like release that as just like a cool little like trailer. It's just like an idea. And then I don't know. I'm not sure how much further I explore the Santa Claus thing. I have some other ideas that were like, yeah, maybe these were sort of like dream ideas too. I forget at this point. Like they've been so long in the works, but there's like this alien thing that I'm working on. Uh, yeah, those kinds of things. I'm just sort of finishing up some like freelance stuff. And then after that, I'm going to get back to like personal work and do those kinds of things. I'm doing this like alien character. The idea right now, at least, is like, I kind of love the vulnerability of like when you're like fresh out of a breakup or something like that. And it's just this like, I was like, just had this vision of like an alien, some sad boy alien who's just kind of like, just in that stage of like, just sort of going about living your life, but just in the sadness of heartbreak. And I just want to create like an alien that's like cool looking, but also has this like sadness in his face, but not like overtly like sad. But I don't know. Anyways, that's like this concept I'm working on.
All right, we'll love to see more of that.
Yeah.
And do you have any piece of it on Instagram as well?
I do like I started I that was one of the things that I had like done some like options for. Like there were like some head options and like some quick sculpts. There's one of those things on my Instagram from like a few months ago where I'd started it and that's just been like in the background as like something I'm gonna finish up. Yeah, there's like another alien thing that I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna like tie it to, but either way, yeah, that's the beginning of it, and then I'm gonna like see that through a bit and hopefully have like a few concept pieces soon. Yeah.
All right, awesome. And now, well, to anyone who's listening, this is like the part where we're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff, but I also need to give a warning, like as just a public service announcement, that there's going to be spoilers for the movie Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and maybe Volume 2 and 1. So yeah, I kind of time stamped it in the captions down below where you can see where you can skip past this part if you haven't watched the movies. So you can come back later and listen to this episode. So just want to give it like an announcement, like this is not a spoiler-free podcast at this point. So if you're still listening, just listen at your own cost. All right.
It's nice of you to have a spoiler stamp for like Volume 1 and 2. I feel like if anybody's upset about that, they have no right to be. Those movies have been out for way too long.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
but Volume 3, I understand. Yes.
Yeah, and oh my God, where should I begin? Actually, to be honest, the way I found your works was to like your works on the concepts you did for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 because because I've been it's my new obsession. Like at this point, I've always loved Guardians of the Galaxy in general, to be honest. Yeah. Like even the 1 and 2, like I love them. I ate them up. I watched all the post-credit scenes, all those post-credit scene analysis videos on YouTube, just everything, all that stuff. Like, I mean, from the whole Marvel comics, that's my favorite thing, like Guardians of Galaxy. Like, it used to be Deadpool, but it changed so fast, with Guardians of Galaxy,
Nice, man. Yeah.
And, I actually downloaded a bunch of their comics as well, And,
really?
Recently, I even, here's the craziest thing. I even bought their game, which I think
the new one? Like the
2021.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's
listen. Everyone's I think annoyed at this point because in the past couple of episodes I've been mentioning this game. It's like a fresh game that I finished like just a week ago, and I know it's kind of overselling, but it's literally one of the best single player game experiences I've ever had.
Really,
in age of microtransactions and like online service and stuff like that, it's a gem. through a sea of like all these like weird games and online services and stuff like that, because like like for example, for skins, usually like I don't want to like talk about the studio or stuff like that. I mean, sure they did a great job, but the previous title wasn't very great job. Everyone, it kind of made the Avengers one,
Yeah,
and yeah, everything they did wrong on that, they made it right on the next one, which was Guardians of Galaxy game.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the thing that really made me like just absolutely fell in love with it was the camera mode,
Oh,
because
really?
I'm the type of person like when I play him, I always take a screenshot because I'm an aspiring environment artist. So
Yeah.
I like a
Okay.
crazy person. Like even when I'm outside, I take pictures of like every single stupid detail that I find interesting,
Yeah, yeah,
And especially in games, for the art quality is like top notch. The writing is amazing. Like just the comedy,
yeah,
the humor, the action. I guess like if I want to be really like pedantic about it, I guess the gameplay could be had room for improvement. But in general, I love the game in general. Like I
yeah.
might even reinstall it again and just play it for fun. Great
Oh, it's so
soundtrack,
sick.
just great everything. Just go play it, everyone. If you, I've been like talking fanboying over this game for like 5 6 episodes now. So if you haven't bought it, like I mean, I don't know like what to say, to be honest. But let's not get like off the track. Like by the way, you play the game as well, right?
No, like I'm not much of a gamer myself, but like the artwork for it is insane, and I was referencing it a lot when I was working on the concept work for, or not, sorry, not concept work, illustration work for the volume 3. Yeah, like it's so beautiful, and man, and I met some of the people at Lightbox last year, and dude, yeah, like the artwork, the quality of like concept work that was done for that game is like,
Yeah.
yeah, out of this world for
You know
sure.
what the crazy thing is? I think I remember Sean Vo was his name. I think he was one of the, I think, lead concept artists on that game, and I interviewed him like a year ago or something on the
Oh,
podcast.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, and now that when I started the game, you started with. Of course, the spoilers I told before. It's none of my business if you're still listening. But yeah, basically you start with the guy's cabin, and I was like, wait, these look familiar. Wait, these are the concept artists of Sean Wu. I
Oh, no
made a
way.
podcast with him, and I was like, holy.
Man, that might be
And
one of the guys I met. I'm trying to remember the name. It was a Sean. I just, yeah, it might, I'm sure it's the same guy. Because does
yeah,
he also do
probably.
illustration work for Magic, the Gathering? What's that?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he did
I don't know.
those as
I
well.
could be embarrassing
I'll
myself.
send his
Like, yeah,
portfolio later after
yeah,
the
yeah,
podcast if you
dude.
want.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
And yeah, just the photo mode was amazing, and just you could literally get into like at any point of the game you could enter ghost mode and go actually fly around with a camera and just see every nook and cranny. It's not
Yeah,
like those really basic photo modes. Which like here's a crazy thing: there were some parts of the environments of the game where the artist didn't have to like put that much effort into making them, because most players, I'm sure, they wouldn't even like pay attention to those details.
right. Yeah.
Like that, like just shouts to me labor of love.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's the same on the Marvel projects too. I feel pretty fortunate. Yeah, like when I was doing that illustration stuff, it's you you get to see like a lot of the concept work that was created for it, and then then you watch the final movie and you're like, man, so much work and like love, like you're saying, was put into that weapon design, which gets like a couple seconds on screen or whatever, and you're like, oh my god. When I'm working on those illustrations, you're like building the story in your mind, like, oh man, this is gonna be like this whole thing in the movie, and then like that suit or whatever is literally on screen for like a couple seconds. You're like, what? How dare you? You got it. Like that's an amazing design that deserves more airtime, kind of deal. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
exactly. And well, just one last thing I want to say about the game is basically like a really good story and movie, but it plays out in a video game format. A
right.
lot of games try to like make that happen, like that kind of experience, but it's like just watching a really fun like just Marvel comic movie, but it's in a video
Yeah,
game format. That's the best way I could
yeah,
describe it.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sponsored by the studio or something, but just go get it. Go, trust me, it's worth your money.
Yeah.
And all right, so let's get to the movie actually. So if you're comfortable with discussing the details, how did the opportunity came by of working on this project, like and how what is your initial reaction actually?
Okay, well, this was like the last project I did with Marvel. As of like, it's not like it's like I started working at Blackbird last summer, So then this was like kind of like the project that I finished up with Marvel, but like still in conversation with them. They're like awesome people. I would still love to do like more stuff with them. But this was like the most recent project that I did with them. But before that, there was like a bunch of other projects. They reached out to me. I guess, I assume, I'm not sure. Like I never really discussed it with them, but I think they came upon my work through Instagram or something like that. Like I did some fan art pieces or like fan casting of what's his name, John Krasinski as like and Emily Blunt, like Fantastic Four piece, and that kind of got a bit like viral-ish. It was like posted on comicbook.com, like a few sites, and like, oh, this is a cool image of what could be. So then I feel like they might have seen that or something. I don't know. I've never known. But either way, so they contacted me through Instagram, and then I started working on like a few projects with them. So then, how the Guardians thing came about, they just kind of every now and then you just got an email, and it was like, all right, we're gearing up for the next project. Are you like available to work on these things? And I was like, heck yes. It was awesome to sort of like, of all the projects I did, like, to be able to do like Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther 2, like Wakanda Forever, Spider-Man, and then like Guardians, like I don't think it's going to get any better than this. Like those are like the heavy hitters in my opinion. I don't know. So I was so stoked. And then immediately terrified at how much work I had to do. But like, it was great. So it came to me in an email.
All right, awesome. And a lot of people like underestimate the power of like, doing fan arts. Like, there's talent scouts for every studio, like always on every single social media. And not just the hashtags. I mean, like just they're pretty good at their job at finding, different things. But the main thing I want to say is that like there was this guy I think who did like a fan art model of R2D2 like for Star Wars, and
oh yeah,
guess what? He got hired for I think working on the next one of the Star Wars movies because his work was good.
Yes.
So if you really love a project and you're just working on your skills, maybe do fan arts. Like, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah, I 100% would agree. Like I don't think that. Well, I think it's like have a balance. Like don't just do fan art, but also I think fan art, especially in the day and age of social media and that kind of thing, like it's going to get attention on your work, hopefully, if it's like well done and all that kind of stuff. So totally like have a good balance of like some really cool fan art. Maybe take some chances too. Like, I don't know if he just did an exact replica of R2D2 or not, but like sometimes it's helpful to be like, this is within this film genre or whichever, like, and like my version of like what this sort of thing could look like. Or if you see like online, it's like, I think right now, what's his name? Adam Driver is like the rumored casting of like Mr. Fantastic. And so like, it's like, what could he look like in that costume kind of thing? What would your version of that be? I think is like always cool. Cause then people will be like excited. People writing articles about like Adam Driver potentially being cast could like use that image as like their thing. And it just sort of spreads from there. I don't know. Like it is totally like a worthwhile venture, I think, to at least it worked out for me. I don't know. So I would say like, totally do fan art.
It worked out for a lot of other people. Like there's also some examples. Like there was an artist who was doing like fan illustrations for League of Legends characters, and
nice.
I think they got hired for, I don't know, working on their like card game, I guess. Right? I forgot the name of the game. It's Runeterra, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, you probably know better than me. This is my own theory that I've like formed in my mind. But
it's
talking
true.
to other artists.
Yeah, it's true. Like, if you do good work that looks like it belongs in the universe, and they happen to need someone with your skills, boom,
totally,
you got hired.
Exactly right. Yeah. So, it was so awesome to be able to do that because it was just like exactly the type of work that I wanted to do as well. Like I was saying with like Jared Morantz, like those guys, like it's like that's like the level of finish that like is just like so appealing to me. So then to be able to just like dive into those details and like try to be like as close to hyper realism as possible was such an awesome like project to work on. So yeah.
All right. And all right. So speaking of the movie, obviously, like, I mean, it's probably obviously you probably watched it, right?
Yeah, I just saw it. I just saw it like a few days ago.
And the first one and second one too, right?
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing. I want to actually hear your personal opinion. Like, rate all the movies together. Like, which one was your favorite? Which one was like, the basically in order
Least
of, yeah.
I'm gonna throw Guardians 2 under the bus. No, it's not like it's like awful, but yeah, like obviously like Guardians number 1, and then I say Guardians 3 and Guardians 2 kind of thing. I don't know. Not that I disliked any of them all that much, but like the first Guardians was just so awesome and just set like such a tone for Marvel and was so fresh and exciting at the time. I just remember seeing that in theaters and being like, that was the most fun I've like had in a movie in so long. And then this one was just like, yeah, a lot of fun, like really cool. I didn't like love all of the parts of it, but like, like it was still, and then like the second one, I feel like, I don't know. I watched it like more recently too, but yeah, I don't know. How about you? What would you?
For me, basically, it's kind of hard because
are they all
like
one?
I love all of them, but the thing is for different reasons. That's a hard thing. Like the first one because it, as you said, sets a tone and it's a breath of fresh air in the fields of movies of like gigachat superheroes who are strong and have to and all of that, and it's just relatable characters that you can really get behind.
Totally.
So it's like a band of misfits who
never
really belong anywhere, and they find belonging with themselves, and that's one of the beauties of Guardians of the Galaxy even in the comics. And the second one was really like fun as well for me, like because of the whole story of like the Star-Lord meeting his father and the whole reveals the backstory and the themes that they go through. But the third one, oh my god, like just
did you just watch it or you saw it?
Yeah, just a week, like 7-8 days ago, I think I watched it in cinema actually. And let me say one thing: I only cried in movies like once or twice, maybe in my whole life. And in that film, I cried like 5-6 times, and I wanted to. I got super. That was the most emotional I ever got in a movie.
Just
honestly,
pull it at the heartstrings like constantly.
Exactly, like sometimes when I think about some of the scenes, like even though I said it's not spoiler free, but I don't want to go into like explain every details because I still want people who might be still listening to go watch it. But even some scenes when I remember it just like, and the thing is, if that happens, the people behind the movie did a perfect job,
right?
Because that's the whole goal of the medium,
for sure.
So
it still gets you like choked up just like thinking of some of the moments of it, and like
I mean, for me personally, because like a lot of the scenes, I know it might sound like it, like out of subject, but for me, like it was like. I'm sorry, I couldn't block the coughing.
Yeah, where was the view on that? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, for me it's because like it was really, it gave me like PTSD flashbacks, to be honest, like from my personal life, and that's what it really made me. And the thing was, it's not really that bad because in the end, when you see the conclusion, so it's kind of like it was kind of like therapeutic as well in a sense.
Nice, yeah. I was talking about that with my partner afterwards. We're just like, they really like, there's a lot of like therapy, sort of like trauma and like going through that in that movie. I was like, wow, this is like the writers, I feel like are, I don't know, they're really like throwing a lot of that stuff in there. And it's pretty cool like to see like where movies are at these days, like in the concepts that they're kind of like dealing with. Yeah, like in terms of the villains and like the heroes and like where they're at. Like personally, I love Mantis's story in it, and it's just like this is some good stuff in there that I'm like, wow, like for a fun what's it called, like sci-fi movie or whatever, they're like touching on some pretty cool like topics and stuff. No, it's great.
And like, what was it? Oh yeah, there was another movie that I really enjoyed recently, like not recently actually, it was like I watched it like in January actually, like that came out, like Puss in Boots 2.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard amazing things.
Watch it, like just put it on your list.
Okay.
I don't care, just put it on your list and go watch it, because here's the thing, because of my ADHD, it's really hard for me to get into watch and movies for an hour unless it's something I like.
Yeah.
And listen, it was like one of those and I only watched like maybe 2 or 3 movies in the past year in total. One of them is Guardians of the Galaxy. One of them is Puss in Boots. Another one is a rewatch of Wall-E. I watch Wall-E every time on my birthday at July 2nd.
Oh,
It's
nice.
my favorite animated movie of all time, and
Nice.
yeah, just Puss in Boots was amazing. And the
Yeah.
thing was, you don't need to even watch the prequels. Like even as a standalone movie, you can still enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the concept, just everything, art, just writing, execution, everything. Same with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like these are some. I love the quality of the new things that are coming out. Honestly,
Nice.
like
No, for sure. Have you seen? Well, I definitely recommend like it's on the topic of like movies that came out, like the Dungeons and Dragons movie, like Among
no, I haven't watched
Hero
that, but
or what is it, Honor Among Thieves or something. Yeah, that movie is awesome. Like same kind of thing. It's like it felt. I felt in that movie the same way I felt for the first Guardians. Like you're just like this is such a fresh like fun band of misfits, like a fresh take on a genre. It just sort of breathed new life into like a fantasy movie. It was such a good time. I can't recommend that movie like enough. It's just like anybody that I feel like watches it is just like, yeah, the movie rocks. So I don't know. Definitely check that one out when you get a
all right,
chance.
it's actually on in cinemas in Turkey as well. I might actually check it out.
Oh, it is still? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think it should be. I should check it after the podcast. Actually,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go for it. No, honestly, I think you'd really like it. Like, it's just a good time, and I don't think that you can hype it up too much. It's just like you'll be surprised
it
by it.
speaks for
And
itself.
yeah, yeah. It's really they just nailed the tone of it. I think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and just one thing about Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know if you heard about this. Like, one major thing that people pointed out about the movie was like, and by the way, again, I know I gave this warning before, but I'm just gonna say it again. A spoiler alert, people! It's still it's going on. Go check the description if you want to see when the spoilers end.
Yeah.
And yes, there was at one of the instances where Star Lord, tries to catch his,
Yeah. Yeah.
recorder, and he basically nearly dies. And
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Where's his signature?" Like jet boots and mask.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about
Yeah, that
that.
was one of the main and because I think earlier in the movie he had it, but then he didn't have it. And I think James Gunn
Oh,
said, because I dug into it a bit, James Gunn said he was in so much of a hurry to go save Rocket, he forgot it on Nowhere.
okay.
And I was like, huh? But I mean, I don't mind it still, because that could happen because based on the character of Star-Lord, you could see him being clumsy and forgetting his stuff.
Sure.
And yeah, but that was actually a good introduction of Adam Warlock as well, because he's one of the main characters of the
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy as well. A lot of people will
Oh, in the
criticize it.
comics, is he? Like, in the
Yeah,
comics, he's a big
he
character. Yeah.
joins the Guardians. Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. That's the thing. Like, I really don't know. Like, I'm not as like well versed in like the Marvel lore and all those sorts of things. So yeah, like even like a lot of the times I'll share something like one of these images, and then like yeah, the fans will be like, "Where's his signature blaster?" Or yeah, like rocket boots and that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Like I didn't really like I don't pay attention to those like little details or like follow the movies as like closely as some people do, and I always feel like, oh my gosh, I'm like so out of touch here, kind of deal.
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
sorry that I don't like know this stuff as in and out as most people.
yeah. The thing is, I'm not that well versed either. I just when I get obsessed with something, I
Yeah,
go
you
on
just
YouTube
start
and
reading
just
online. Yeah. I know, man. I didn't think about that. I don't know. Like maybe it just like it works as a good like dramatic moment for the movie, and like just kind of like let it be a thing. I don't know. You don't have to. Yeah,
yeah,
I think sometimes we could get too caught up in those things. And it's like it's a good movie. It was a good
yeah,
moment.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It has like an emotional impact. Just kind
and I
of.
think it was a good decision because it kind
Yeah.
of had the opportunity to show that Adam Warlock is kind of hinting that's joining the Guardians.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I love that. Oh man, he was such a cool character in it. I know. I really, they're all. That's what's so good about Guardians is like all those characters are just so solid. Like yeah, they you love them each equally for their own reasons. And, yeah, like Adam Warlock was such a cool like addition to it now, and like yeah, that was a great movie.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, there was another thing actually I want to mention about this whole movie was that yeah, Adam Warlock, the people criticize about why did they dumb him down, then it's like Drax now out in bits, and it's actually I think they made the right choice because if you saw the post credits scene of the Guardians of Galaxy 2, it hints that Adam Warlock is. I don't know if you remember the post credits
Yeah,
scene
yeah,
of
for
that
sure.
was like the hint that Adam Warlock is gonna come, and
He's yeah,
he got hatched prematurely from his things. So of course he's kind of immature now. He's not his
yeah,
full
yeah,
power
yeah. Not fully
versions.
developed. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think
yeah,
they did great. Like how he was kind of like obsessed with the furry little pet he found, like a little child.
yeah, yeah. He's a
It
bit
made
childlike.
sense.
Yeah,
It was good
yeah.
acting, actually.
Yeah. No, I like that character. It's like I think it just works in movies when like it's like the big like brooding dude is a bit slower or whatever. It's just like it's just more fun that way. Like they can't be perfect in every way. I think it's awesome when they
Yeah,
kind
but
of
for
do
me,
it. Yeah.
Guardians of Galaxy has a like sweet spot in my heart because it's just I love the gang so much. Like they're so
Yeah.
fun. Like because all their personalities are just funny in their own way. Like
Yeah.
with Drax is like not getting hints or like metaphors and stuff, and his jokes, or Groot, or just
That was so
Rocket.
good. Yeah, I love that
Rocket
part of the
pranking
movie. Yeah.
everyone, like
Yeah.
Quill being Quill.
I love the analogy, the part with the analogies and the metaphors and stuff with Drax. I thought that was so
Yeah,
good.
in all
Yeah.
movies, even in
Yeah.
Infinity
Yeah.
Wars one.
Yeah, no, it's so, like they're always so clever with those things. I love the Christmas special so much. Did you watch that?
I saw bits of it on YouTube, like, but I've seen
Okay,
clips of it. Yeah,
yeah, you should. Well, I don't know. A lot of
you can
people I
spoil it
talked
for me.
to
No
did
worries. If
they
you want, you
spoiled
can
it.
spoil it.
Well, no, I was just gonna say like a lot of people I talked to like didn't really love it, but for some reason it just like it hit all the right notes for me. I was like, yeah, that thing. I'd say if I could rank all the things, I'd be like Christmas special number one, then volume
I
one,
think they brought
three,
Kevin
two.
Bacon
Yeah,
as a gift for Peter
it's
Quill.
awesome. I wish I got to create art for that. Like I'm a big, as you can tell by the Santa Claus stuff. Like I just love the cheesiness of Christmas and like Christmas movies and that kind of thing. It's always just been like, and yeah, like over the holidays when like the family's getting together, it's always just been such like a positive, like beautiful thing in my life. And like I keep it so sacred. Like yeah, Christmas stuff. So I'd love to work on like a holiday movie or something sometime. That's just like yeah. Ideally, a holiday monster movie, if possible.
That's
Anyway,
awesome, man.
yeah,
And yeah, and here's the thing now. The story of like just I know it seems like I can't shut up about the game, but honestly, like, just gonna say one thing. The story was really like fun, like just great, and I think I wish the movies would take more inspirations like the story of the game did.
oh yeah,
And like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the movies were good, and
yeah,
the direction they took was still good. I enjoyed them a lot.
yeah.
But I mean, the game did a really good job. To anyone who enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy, don't miss out this game at all,
Wow, okay.
because like I'm sure you will 100% enjoy it, and it will be on your top 10 list of all time as well, in my opinion,
Yeah,
because the game is just amazing. I'm just gonna
this is
stop
such a
there.
glowing review for the game. I gotta actually play the game. I've really just sort of like admired the concept art, but like, all right, damn, I'm gonna check it out.
All right, awesome. And let's see. Now, speaking of other, we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy a lot, but now, what
Yeah.
about other Marvel projects? What kind of memorable moments you have from working on those projects?
Oh man, they're all like each of them was like equally as awesome. Like to do the Spider-Man characters, like being privy to uh, the news of like all the Spider-Man joining in like No Way Home before the release was like the scariest feeling in the world. That will always stand out in my mind of being like, man, like yeah, just being like getting the news and like sort of speaking in code about it. And working on those concepts. Like honestly, I've said this before. Like I was my apartment at the time. Like I had a window. I was on like ground level, and I kept the blinds closed at all times as I was working on that. And I was just like drawing in the darkness, trying to keep like that as secret as possible. That was awesome. That was so cool. And like just like yeah, to get that email, be like, all right, we want you to work on these characters, was just like me. Why me? I'm not worthy. And then yeah, well, like on Guardians too. Palm, like the actress from who plays Mantis, was awesome. Like she had given me some feedback on like I was working on the illustration of her, and then like had some notes about the pose, and it was all about like um, how like the character sort of evolved, and like just like really like thoughtful consideration into like that character and like how they would sort of like the body language of them and like where they're at in their journey kind of thing. And yeah, so I adjusted the pose on that, and like she was just extremely like really nice about like really nice at giving me feedback, and then also took the time to like pose and then I had like like photo to work from kind of thing in terms of like reference, and I just thought that was awesome. Like what a cool thing to do. I was really grateful for that. Yeah, those I guess those are some memorable moments. Like honestly, every character, it felt like I was like, no way, I get to work on like this thing now and this thing now. It was such a cool project or time of chapter of work. I can't believe it. Every time I look back on it, or whenever the movies, because like you work on it a year and a half in advance, and then like when the movie finally comes out, and then you're revisiting the work and you're like sharing it, it's just so exciting, and then you're like, oh my god, they printed it on that and on that, and right now it's like cereal boxes, and I'm like so fired up about that because like I am such a child when it comes to cereal. I've had to like cut myself off, but like if it was up to me, I'd eat that stuff all day. But I've learned that I have to eat more adult things, so I eat oatmeal now. But like cinnamon toast crunch and Reese puffs and that kind of thing, like I love that stuff growing up. So then now to see those Guardians illustrations on those boxes, it's like the craziest thing. So yeah, I haven't gotten any of the boxes yet, but I'm gonna hunt them down. Like I'm going to the States next weekend, and I'm gonna go on a manhunt for those boxes and gather them all
as collectibles. Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, that's such a cool thing that she actually cooperated a lot with the whole art process. The whole as actually, speaking of Mantis, like I'm gonna say this to kind of be manifested in the universe, so it might someday happen. Please let like a spin-off series with Drax and Mantis happen. Marvel Studios.
I know, right? Yeah, they deserve that. I feel like there's so much there. Yeah, it's such a fun relationship in that series. Yeah, I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah, definitely. Like in Guardians too, especially like there were scenes that just were so funny, like with Drax and Mantis and
yeah. Well, you gotta watch the Christmas special then. It's kind of like they have their own little adventure.
I'll watch it definitely. Yeah, I'll try to find it.
It's good.
It's on really Netflix.
Good. No, on Disney Plus.
Oh, I should check. I don't have a Disney Plus. I'll try to get it though.
Yeah. Get that. Watch that. It's awesome. It's worth it.
Just for that, I will. I'll get a 1 month subscription and see what happens.
Yeah.
And and not just that. Like even at the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, there was this scene that it kind of hinted that their continuation of the Guardians of the Galaxy might happen.
Yeah.
With Rocket and the new team. The Groot is now his King Groot version.
Yeah.
And there was Kraglin, there's Cosmo now, which was kind of interesting. Or I'm not going to say spoilers for the game, because you haven't played it. But Cosmo is also in the game. I'm just going to say that. Okay. But yeah. And I just hope that Guardians of the Galaxy keep going, because it's really crazy with the cast of roster of all the superheroes they had in Marvel. Imagine a couple of D and C tier like superheroes became the MVPs of this whole MCU for me, basically, and a lot of people as well, because I heard that a lot. I saw this a lot, and I'm not saying this as a biased way, that the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy is the best trilogy.
Yeah.
And I only watched one Ant-Man movie, and a lot of people said that Ant-Man trilogy is the worst. I guess I don't know. I haven't watched it. I'm not trying to trash on them. I'm sorry, but this is just what I've saw like a lot of places.
Yeah. I really liked Ant-Man 3. I don't know. I watched it in tears because it wasn't getting the best reviews. So like I didn't really know what to expect with it. But I don't know. That was one of my favorites. I don't know what that says about me and my taste. But
No. That's actually a really good point. You should always go watch movies and play games without watching the reviews, because everyone's taste is a bit different, on what they enjoy. Yeah, and you subconsciously kind of have this expectation set when you see, for example, this movie like tanked in the box office, so I guess I'm gonna watch it anyway. So, but you still have this expectation. But if you don't know that and you go and watch it, I'm like, it was pretty nice.
Yeah, I know. So, pleasantly surprised. Yeah,
but this is just something off, right? Gotcha. All right. Sneeze again. Yeah. And
Oh man, I hope you get better soon, man.
yeah,
This
I
is
hope
like
so too. I
a
hope
thing
so
in all
too.
these podcasts. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I hope so too, honestly. And yeah, but the thing is, they basically, a lot of people on the poll said that Guardians of the Galaxy were the best, the most popular, I guess, trilogy in the whole MCU.
Yeah.
And I wish they put more, now there's like, it's really hot. Like, right now they should, add, like, put out more content from it. I guess James Gunn is in DCU now, we can,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah,
True.
without getting into too much, details of, why that happened. But yeah, it was a real, pity that it happened.
Yeah. Oh.
And yeah, I just, even if it's not with James Gunn, yeah, I know we're
Sorry. Can you
hearing
hear the noise out there?
it's 100% fine, no
Okay.
worries.
Okay. Sorry. It's just I guess like other people in the apartment. Darn
Yeah,
kids. Anyways,
no
carry on.
worries.
Carry on.
Yeah. And I just wish, even if it's without James Gunn, I wish, the Guardians story, goes on, in the movie or series form. Like, listen, if it's series, I'll still watch it, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
I kind of have affinity and just a real thing for sci-fi. And what type of sci-fi? Like, exactly, Guardians of the Galaxy sci-fi. And another
Yeah.
series that I love, but unfortunately got canceled 20 years ago. If you haven't watched it, go watch it as well. It's called Firefly. I don't know if you watched it.
Okay,
Just,
no, I was expecting you to say this because yeah, like I hear a lot about that as well. I've never watched it, but no, there's like a lot of people that are like
it's
diehard fans of that. It's like the
it's
perfect
amazing.
series. Yeah, yeah,
And Nathan Fillion was in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which he was the lead
yeah.
character.
Okay,
I was
yeah.
like, nice.
So it must be like a similar enough tone then, or something. No, for them
Yep.
to like, yeah,
Yep.
be
In a
like fans
sense.
of this are probably going to be fans of Firefly. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, I really love, that kind of sci-fi. Like, it's kind of sounds like a really interesting, peculiar, like, cross-section of subjects. But Western sci-fi is like has been one of my favorites,
Right.
like, genres. Like,
Yeah.
with Fallout New Vegas is my favorite game of all time. There's like, Serenity and Firefly, which is Serenity is actually the movie continuation sequel to the end of Firefly.
Oh, okay.
And like, stuff like, I'm a sucker for stuff like this, to be honest, like
Yeah.
Guardians of
Yeah.
Galaxy, like that kind of sci-fi,
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, I agree. It's like it's just a lot more fun. Like I like when it's like it's still like a fleshed out world and everything, but it doesn't take itself too seriously and it has some like humor.
It has a
and,
fun sense of chaos in all of them, and I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's awesome. That's so,
And
man. I like that you're such. I'm glad that you. And like, yeah, you saw my work, and like, hopefully, then like, it did the Guardians justice for you. But
man,
yeah, like,
that's a pleasure. Yeah, of course.
That's awesome. Thanks. Well, yeah, thanks for
And yeah, my pleasure, man. And
reaching out.
all right. I talked about my interests. Now I want to hear from you. Like, what are your obsessions, basically? Like how I explained.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. So I'd say, well, right now, like I'm really into like the A24 movies and stuff. I kind of like I have this like sweet spot for horror in a weird way. Not like in the darkest sense of it, but sometimes like I really like a thoughtful movie that like I don't know, like the movies that I enjoy like a lot as of late are like things that are just like, well, did you watch Barbarian by any chance? I watched it on the plane.
Nope.
It's great. It's just a great movie. It's so cool. It's so
All right,
well
I'll
thought
check it
out.
out.
Like it follows all the beats of like a horror movie, but like it's just like the motivations and like why the characters end up in these situations. It's all like it plays out really well. Like it just makes a lot of sense. I really thought that was like a clever movie. And then like yeah, like A24, anything like gosh, what's the name? Like Robert Eggers, I think is his name. I could be wrong. Like his movies, like that kind of thing. I love that stuff right now. Like the Northman, the Witch, that kind of vibe. And Ari Aster, I think. Yeah, Ari Aster, like those kinds of movies, like Hereditary and stuff. Just like a bit like just weird, but yeah, that's been like what I've been into. But I don't know if that's like a genre. But yeah, like similar to you, like that kind of sci-fi, like Guardians type of thing, a bit of everything, and then like fantasy. I've been like dying for like I don't know. I know they did have the Lord of the Rings series. I haven't watched it, but like I just hold the Lord of the Rings movies, that original trilogy, like so near and dear to my heart. Even like the Hobbit movies. And so like I've been dying for something like that. So I was stoked with D&D because I'm like I'm stoked for like some fantasy stuff to like be on the big screen again, and like and to be excited for those kinds of movies. And man, I feel like I'm just going on and on. But like Dune, the new Dune movie, I can't wait for that. Like that Dune 1 or part 1 or whatever. Watching that felt like watching Lord of the Rings for the first time in theaters, you know, and you're just like something that's just like epic. Uh, and like you're like, I feel like I'm witnessing like a part of like movie history here, you know. That was wicked. So I don't know if I really gave you a clear answer. I just gave you a bunch of things that I like.
No, that was good. Because actually, with the fun thing with Dune was, yeah, it was a really grand project, and
Yeah.
the problem for me was a lot of people, like I mean, a lot of people that were sci-fi fans didn't really connect with Dune. A lot of them, but because they weren't necessarily fans of Dune or weren't like did any reading about it, they're just like, oh, I'm just gonna see for the production value of it,
Yeah.
But for example, for me, basically, I watched it and I went on YouTube to learn about the lore
Learn
and
about
stuff
it.
like that. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow. But even the most interesting thing for me, I know this is kind of like I guess weird, but for me, when I see Batista in the movie, I was like, hey, that's Drax.
Yeah,
What
man.
is it?
Yeah.
And yeah, and it was just imagine like serious villain like that being and Guardians of Galaxy have to fight them. Just like
Yeah.
that's one of the things I love about Guardians of Galaxy. They have to fight really serious, dark, people sometimes, and they are just some troll. They're just trolling the guy or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
the villain is. That's what I love about them. Like, for example, if it's Thor or Captain America, they're all serious and righteous
Right.
and just want to bring
Yeah.
justice. And these guys are just messing with them. Just
Just
dance.
fumbling as they're like, yeah, defeating the bot, or like, yeah, that scene in the hallway of Volume 3 where they're just like, they're all kind of like working together as a team, and like the
Yeah, that
camera's
was
just
just
like moving
sick.
around. That was the best. I love that part so much. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And
Yeah.
no worries. Yeah. We were all fanboying over the whole.
Yeah.
Guardians.
Exactly. We're just like, yeah.
For a good reason, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and congratulations to anyone who's been listening till now, because we have finished the spoiler part of the
Yeah.
podcast.
Sorry about that rambling. Yeah.
Yeah, no. That was, I really enjoyed it. No, don't be sorry about that. And the next section, that actually the thing I want to ask about is there? Wow, wait a second. Yep. Let me say it again. I had to cough.
Yeah. All good.
What area beside the area you're working on right now, which is of course in the realms of art and design, would you be interested to explore and learn in the future? Like basically, what other non-art related things you have in your life or you want to pursue maybe in the future?
What, not art related things, Tom?
Yep.
Okay. Oh man.
It could be projects. Maybe it could be learning something.
Yeah.
Just anything.
I know. I feel like so much of my interest, it's all art related. Like I'm getting a lot into Unreal right now, and to just kind of like build out worlds and like, yeah, do like a trailer or like cinematic things like that in Unreal. And then like where you create all the characters and everything, and then doing some like animation, like hacky animation that I'm doing. And that has been like one of my like main interests at the moment. But other than that, it's the summertime. I live on the west coast of Canada right now, and getting out into the mountains and camping and doing that kind of thing is like, it's probably like top of my mind at the moment. I don't know, like if I have, man, well, okay, like other things like that I want to like pursue. Like, you mean like skills or
No, it could be anything. It could
anything?
be not just
Like,
skills.
I don't want, like, if I say something on here that I feel like I'll be like held accountable for it. But like, there's been a part of me that's like, I really like running and that sort of thing. So I feel like at some point I'd like to do a marathon. I haven't done that yet, but like I was really getting into running last year and doing some longer runs and being like, okay, maybe I could push it to like a marathon, see how that goes. But I don't know when I will ever commit to that. But yeah, those sorts of things. Just trying to be active and outdoors is like a big thing for me right now, because so much work is just inside of the computer.
Yeah, honestly, I get what you mean. Yeah, because I actually kind of envy, because in Turkey there's not much mountains to go hike and climb. Like,
Yeah, but you mentioned jungles earlier.
Yeah, there are jungles, sure.
There's jungles there?
Yeah.
Damn, I want to go. Honestly, I've been wanting to do a trip to Turkey for a long
Oh,
time.
nice.
Like, yeah, that'd be sick. Okay, so there's jungles. Damn. All right, sorry.
Yeah, there's a
Carry
lot
on.
of
Carry
jungles
on.
actually. No
Yeah.
worries, no worries.
Okay.
Like actually, even if there's mountains, is like in the eastern side of the country, which is they're all
Okay.
volcanic, you know. And because the thing is,
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
originally from a town in south of Iran called Shiraz, and I literally my it's literally up on the mountains.
Yeah.
And like since I was here, like even our house was literally next to a famous the Rocky
Oh
Mountain
man.
in our city. So I'm kind of
Really?
like I have a place for mountains in my heart. So I
Sure.
haven't seen mountains for years now. It's kind of driving me crazy
Yeah.
because in the end of the day, I'm a mountain guy, I guess. And
Yeah, man. I
like yeah,
know.
there's a lot of mountains in Canada. I guess I saw pictures.
Well, like here there are. So I grew up in Ontario, and there's that's the bummer of Ontario is it's pretty flat. Like the mountains are more hill or like there's hills. And so there's just nothing on the horizon. So I was basically living in probably like a similar situation to what you have now. Like you just kind of look and it's a lot of farmland and like, and forest and that kind of thing, but no like, not like, I'm not trying to like bash on Ontario, but then like out west, it's like, it's gorgeous, man. Like everywhere you look, there's just like the most like epic mountains and ocean and lakes and like forests and everything like that. It's like, why would you not want to live here? It's amazing. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's just the greatest. Well, it's expensive to live here. That's probably
Exactly. Actually, I saw a meme the other day that it looks like it posted a picture of abandoned, overgrown shack, and it says Vancouver, Canada, $2 million Canadian dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know. So that's a problem. I don't know how sustainable this is going to be, like how long we'll be out here. But for right now, like I moved here a couple years ago, and it's been like a blast. And I'm just trying to like soak all of it in. But yeah, the mountains, man. Like being able to like, did you ever like camp on top of the mountains, like when you're, or like did you hike them
Yeah, all
back
the
home
time.
and everything? Yeah. So like the thing to do here is like you like hike up to it with like your backpack with all your gear and camp overnight. It's the best. Like you're just up on the peak of a mountain, and it's just like starry skies. You're in the middle of nowhere, kind of thing. And yeah, I love it. It's been amazing, and I've never had an experience like that before. So like, I've just been like obsessed with that at the moment, and like wanting to do more of that thing. I'm by no means like a rock climber or mountaineer or anything, but like, yeah, for the amateur camper that I am, like that's just like I want to be doing more of that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Just two tips. I want to give you one for the marathon thing and one for the camping thing.
Yeah,
The
are you a
marathon
runner
thing.
as well? Do you run?
Yeah, but I kind of course, because I've been just busy with all of this and just working on a huge project. I haven't actually been active a lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
And like just a tip about the running thing. I once, like last year summer, I went to like a city near Istanbul called Izmit. It had beautiful lush jungles and mountains, but it wasn't that mountains I like. It was kind of like hilly mountains, but they were
Yeah.
mountains still, you know.
Yeah.
And one time I went there, because we had relatives there. They had a house. I stayed there, and outside it was so beautiful. The air was so good. I actually went there initially to practice for marathons and running, but that was a huge mistake because the elevation was 600 meters, and I ran like a half marathon there, like for like a long time. And the reason I'm saying this is not to just show off or something, is to say don't do that for practice on elevation. Just do it on a flat surface as much as possible, because it messed up my right side of my hip for a year.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
because I just it's funny that we're talking about this. Like just yesterday, I was running with a buddy of mine on a mountain trail, and like, yeah, dude, it's crazy because like, I normally just run on the streets, but then to run on a trail and like you're going uphill, downhill, it's dangerous. Like you're like, man, like slipping and falling and all these like roots and rocks and stuff that you're like tripping on, and like, yeah, it was painful and dangerous for me. So I know what you mean. Yeah. And the elevation on top of that, there was not like that high elevation where we were, but I can imagine like, yeah, my gosh, that'd be terrible. Just like get super lightheaded and knock yourself out kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, just as long as you don't really put tension and pressure on your joints and ligaments, I mean, you should be fine. But if you strengthen them before on like a flat surface, on treadmills and stuff like that, I think then you should be fine. And the second tip is with the camping thing. One of the things we always used to do whenever we went to camping in mountains or something, I don't know if like in America or that others, like North America, I mean, people do those stuff. But here's what we used to do. That was a weird way to break that section. We used to like put potatoes and sometimes sausages or something in aluminum foils, and we would dig
Okay.
a hole, put them in the hole, put dirt on it, and on that place we set up a campfire, and the heat would cook everything under the dirt, and it actually would turn out really delicious.
Oh my god. Like an earth oven or whatever? Or is that
Yeah,
not the same
kind of
thing?
like that. No, you
Well, the
just
fire's on top though, right? Like,
exactly. Yep, the heat
whoa.
transfers. Yeah.
Oh man, that's the coolest idea ever. I gotta look up how to do that.
Yeah,
Damn.
just take some, clean some potatoes, put
Yeah. And do
piece
you
them with
chop it
like
up or like you keep it
no,
like
no,
whole?
just
Okay.
just put some whole, but just maybe pierce them with a fork a bit, and you can
Yeah.
add olive oil and some spices and wrap
Yeah.
them up completely and just throw them in the dirt.
Damn. That sounds so
And
cool.
you can sit by the campfire, do your marshmallows and everything. Then at the end, like after a couple of hours, you can just dig them down and bring them up and enjoy them.
Man,
Yep.
thank you for that advice. That's like blowing my mind a bit. I'm like, oh my god, why have I not done?
You
Because
can
like,
do it with the most things, by the way, not just potatoes.
yeah, I know, but or yeah, like what else would you do then? Like meats as well, or no? Like you
Depends
mentioned
on
meat, no? Or
yes, sausages.
okay,
Depends on the meat
yeah,
you're working with. I
yeah, you
mean,
like risk overcooking it, I guess, or
no, actually, less undercooking it sometimes.
oh, okay, okay,
Depends on the meat completely.
right? How hot you
If
get
you
that
have like a
fire going
cast
to?
iron skillet with you, you can just maybe cook it on the dirt, then sear it and fry it in the skillet later. So I think
Whoa,
that'd be good actually. That would be kind of nice. I'm getting hungry
damn!
actually.
I gotta try this out. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, let me know how it actually turns out. Send me pictures later.
Man, okay. I gotta step up my camping. I
Camping.
would feel like such a wilderness man to be like, yeah, burying potatoes and like, yeah, that sounds wicked. Man. I love that.
And well, all right, we've reached the final question and section of the podcast, which is called time capsule. And all right, let me explain what it means.
Okay.
I'm gonna paint a scenario for you, like paint an image for you, and yeah, I think that should help you a lot visualize the whole feel of the question, which is,
Okay.
imagine you're in a spaceship and you're in a escape pod of the spaceship, and you're trapped, and you're about to get ejected into space, and you're going to be lost forever. All right.
Yeah.
And in that moment, in that couple of few minutes that you have left, and there's a countdown timer on the door that is the countdown of your ejection, you kind of have this voice log recorded that you can record anything you want. And in that moment, you have the opportunity to say anything, your last ever words that could be expressed from you.
Oh
In that
man.
situation, what would you say to any other human being who is listening to that voice recording, from yourself to any other human being? I mean,
Oh
of
man.
course, usually when people are put in that position, of course, they want to talk about their loved ones. Obviously,
Well,
I'd
yeah, I
say
was gonna
think
say
of them.
like I love my family and like yeah that
Yeah,
kind
no,
of,
but aside from that, let's say that's your last opportunity to express yourself.
Okay.
And what kind of words of wisdom would you want to impart to anyone who might listen to that recording at any point of time in the future?
Okay.
Like from one human to another human being.
I'd say, I guess, like one thing I like to say a lot or like remind myself of, I feel like it's just like everybody's doing their best. Like, just kind of give like people the benefit of the doubt, I guess. Like, if you ever like getting like upset with, or like, what was their motivation for doing that kind of thing? And just sort of like try to like reframe it, be like, everybody's just doing their best. I don't know. Is that a good thing? Or one thing as like a mantra for like art related things, since this is primarily an art podcast, there's this book I really like for creatives. Like my partner, she recommended it to me, is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, the lady who wrote
Magical thinking big?
Did you look it up? Yeah. So it's the lady who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. That's it. It was like she recommended this book to me early on, and it's so good for like just because she's a writer, and then and just sort of talks about like what it takes to be like to have like a creative, make it a living with like like a creative like pursuit kind of thing. Like writing, and a lot of it's just about like putting in the time and the hours and that kind of thing. And one of the lines in it that I just like feel so strongly about is like finished is better than perfect kind of thing. Like just the idea of like just pumping, just get it done, like complete the project and get it out there. Like don't labor over it and like try to make it perfect and never release it because it's not like what you think it needs to be kind of thing. Like just continue to create and just finish projects, and you're always going to learn and grow from them. That kind of thing. Does that make sense? I guess like those would be my my
Yeah, it
words
makes
of wisdom,
sense.
and at least where I'm at right now. I don't know.
All right, awesome. And well, we've reached the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for coming on for this episode. I really enjoyed it. It was a real pleasure.
Thanks. Yeah, I really enjoyed this too. This is great.
Yeah,
It's awesome to
awesome.
meet you, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel
same
like we
as well.
gotta keep in touch and like, yeah,
Yeah,
we gotta
100%. Yeah,
get some more camping trips tips from
exactly.
you and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, where can people contact you if they had any questions? Is their Instagram account okay for contacts?
Yeah, for sure. Like Instagram or ArtStation, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
they're linked to
generally,
the.
I'll respond to like those sorts of things. Like that's probably the best. Like I'm on Instagram pretty often, like more often than I'd like to be. So yeah,
We all are. We all are.
I'll respond. I'll respond to that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. And well, that's it. Thank you again for coming by, and thank you to anyone who tuned in and listened to this episode as well. I hope you enjoyed it, and sorry for the spoiler part, that was a bit too long.
Yeah.
But see, these should be your motivation to quickly go watch the Guardians of Galaxy movies and come back.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and also go buy the game. I'm not sponsored, but I
You
wish
should
I
be
was.
sponsored. At this point,
Yeah,
you
actually,
should be sponsored.
Exactly. I wish I was, but I don't get enough views for that. But whatever. And yeah, with that being said, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Until next episode. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.